Thank you, everybody, and thank you to ITAG for having me. The last time I was on this stage was when I graduated, which I'm not going to say what year that was in, but I do have a degree in electronic and computer engineering from this fine establishment, so it is lovely to be back. I am Amanda Colreavy. As Karen mentioned, I'm a Director of Application Security for Fidelity Investments. And really, part of my role at Fidelity is making sure that our developers are developing secure applications and making sure that the tools that we have available to them are easy to use and supporting them to do that. Okay, today I am going to be talking about how to adopt a security culture or a security-first mindset in your organization. Oh, yeah, sorry. Thanks, Karen. Okay, is that better? Okay, thank you. So today I'm going to be talking about how to adopt a security-first mindset in an organization, talking about a little bit of the cultural mind shifts that you'll need to go through on your journey to do that, and then talk about a practical example of how Fidelity is using a program called Security at Champions to achieve that. So before I get into that, I just want to set a little bit of context of why it's really important. So cybercrime continues to increase due to things like geopolitical tensions, technology like AI, which it's very interesting that we're partnering those two talks today. There's lots of reasons that cybercrime is on the rise. This statistic is pretty interesting. $10.5 trillion is what is predicted to cost the world for cybercrime in 2025 alone. So that number is increasing year over year. That is a staggering statistic, and to put it in perspective, if cybercrime was a country, it would be the third largest country after the US and China's economy. So we're seeing increases in things like data breaches, ransomware attacks, malicious packages. Credentials are always a top target, and then technologies like AI are making it very easy for cyber criminals to steal credentials, to defeat multi-factor authentication, and to exploit privileges and permissions. So it's hugely important that people take this very seriously. Okay, so one of the things that you can do to combat these risks is to adopt a security-first mindset, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So it does require leadership commitment, changes in organization culture, and ongoing reinforcement, but it is a really crucial thing to safeguard your organization against the increasingly complex cyber landscape. So this slide gives a high-level overview of some of the key concepts to consider when you're doing this. The first one, lead by example. Any program you have, no matter how good it is, it's not going to be successful if you don't have support from your executive leadership team. It's also important to make sure that associates feel empowered to do the right thing, and getting that visible support from leadership does that. Making security everyone's job is crucial to success, and how you do that is making sure that you have tailored training programs for different types of roles, so everybody gets a tailored plan to the things that are important to them. It's also important to build in positive reinforcement and incentives like recognition to reinforce those secure behaviors. Communication is obviously a key part of any strategy, but in this case, it needs to work in both ways. So we need to make sure that we're sharing information with our associates about active cyber risks so that they understand what they mean to them. But we also need to make it very easy for people to report to us when there are issues. So make it as simple as possible so that people can do the right thing, the easy thing. So examples of that are things like when people are getting emails from external companies outside of the organization, even just tagging that the email is coming from an external source will make people think twice about clicking a link that maybe is a malicious link. Also, reporting phishing directly through your email system is another way to make it very simple for teams. Building security into daily work. So this really is critical. Again, it speaks to making things as easy as possible for people to do the right thing. Trying to shift security as far left in the development lifecycle really amplifies this, because we are enabling developers to fix cyber issues as they're being found. So before it ever gets to production or has the potential to be exploited, the further or earlier in the development lifecycle we can identify them with tools that are easy for developers to use, the easier it is to resolve. And then the last one, again, continuous improvement. Regardless of what you're trying to do, there's always going to be a way to improve it. So we conduct cyber drills regularly. So what we do for those is we pretend it's a zero-day situation. So if people aren't familiar with those, we will take a random vulnerability or a particular library, like maybe a vulnerability hasn't even been created yet, and we will pretend it's a zero-day issue. So there's no fix available. We need to try and understand the impact of that and how we would communicate with the teams that are impacted. So that's a great way to understand what gaps you have in your processes so that you can build a plan to fill them. The other thing we do here is we use the Building Security in Maturity Model, or BSIM, which is an industry standard for benchmarking your application security programs. So we conduct reviews with them regularly and identify any gaps, and then obviously a plan to address them. And one of the things I'll be talking about today is security champions, which was actually something that was identified as a gap in one of our recent BSIM reports. So this is about changing a culture, so it's about changing the way that people think about things. So this slide, it's got a few things that, you know, they're probably the old way of thinking, and you need to shift and move people to a new way of thinking. For the first one, security is IT's job. It's seen as a technology problem. It's not a business problem. It's not a general workers problem. That needs to change to security is everyone's responsibility. And that's the only way that this will work and be emphasized across the organization. And security champions is a key part of that, which we'll get into in a second. The next one, working reactively versus proactively. So again, this speaks to trying to identify issues as early as possible and address them as early as possible before they're ever exploited or ever make it to production. And it's something that is crucially important. Data breaches can cost a company upwards of, I think the average is nearly 5 million for a single data breach, which is a huge financial cost to a company, but there's also reputational damage as well. So if we can fix things before they are actually a problem, or before somebody else finds out that they're a problem, that is obviously the best outcome for everyone. Compliance-driven versus risk-aware is really more about how we think about our policies. So we need to make sure that our policies are focusing on where the most risk is, and not just blindly applying a specific policy. So not all applications are created equal. Some of them are a lot riskier. Some of them may be public-facing on the internet. Those are obviously a lot more risky in terms of being attacked. So there may be different policies that you apply based on the type of application that you have. The next one, I don't know what to do. This is generally down to poor communication or the secure thing not being the simple thing to do. So by empowering people to act securely, you really need to, again, make it really simple for them to be able to be empowered to do that. The last one here is security is a one-time project. So we definitely can't think about it like that. Getting an application to production and having everything working perfectly when it gets to production is fantastic. But in reality, in modern applications, up to 90% of code is based on open source dependencies, which are hugely susceptible to vulnerabilities and malicious attacks. So you need to constantly update those dependencies and patch into unvulnerable versions of those dependencies. So it's a consistent, continuous thing that needs to be considered. Okay, so now I will, sorry, let me go back one. I'll move to our Security Champions program. So this is one of the initiatives at Fidelity that showcases how we're changing the culture and making it a security-first culture. So this is our definition of it, but I'll just kind of call out the key parts in it. It's really about empowering developers and amplifying your security message across the organization. It's changing the picture from it being a security tells us what to do and working with the developer instead. It does help bridge the gap between the security team and the individual engineering teams. And then what we're doing to do this is embedding security-minded people within the teams. So what a security-minded person is essentially anyone who has an interest in security. We open up our program to any technologists within the company who have an interest in security and want to promote that message. And then we get them to advocate for us and for our policies within their teams and within their broader business units as well. Okay. So the goals of the program are very simple. We ultimately want to improve our application's security posture. And we're doing that by enhancing knowledge and skills across our organization, by collaborating with tech associates and having them be our voice within their business units. And we're also then building a community of cybersecurity knowledge where our champions are able to work together. They obviously work with their teams, but we're building that community for them and us as well. Okay, so this is very, very simplified, but it does give you an idea of practically what it looks like. So on the left-hand side is before our Security Champions program. You have your centralized security function, and that interacts with all of the development teams around you. After incorporating Security Champions, you can see we have those security-minded people embedded in each of the teams. And even if we don't have a Security Champion in every team, they're generally working together with the security champion in their business unit, so you can see there's still advantages to having that widespread support. Okay, so next I'll talk a little bit about how we did this. So first of all, you need to design your program, obviously. So we did that by doing industry analysis and also shaping the program based on what we needed. And then we ran a pilot to help us determine what would work for us. First step then is to onboard your champions, make sure you're supporting them, giving them training, and developing a centralized plan for them, which is customized to their application and gives them an idea of what we call ideal actions that they can take to improve their security posture. So that could be something as simple as watching a video on a particular topic of interest, or it could also be actually resolving a vulnerability within their application. We then help them to influence the culture within their own teams and encourage them to share that within their broader business units to get more impact. The benefits of the program really align back to the guiding principles that we talked about on the first slide. We're getting security prioritized across the organization, so from the top down and the bottom up, which is the best way to ensure it'll be successful. We're increasing the awareness of cyber risks across the organization, which means people understand the impact of these issues, and then there's less pushback from development teams on when we're asking them to fix them. We've obviously improved our application security posture, which was one of our goals of the program. And we've empowered developers to do the right thing because we're providing them with that support. And one of the key things that we get out of this is timely feedback from our champions as we work with them on things that we could be doing better or things that are working that we should do more of. On the lessons learned, some of the things that we did learn in our journey is initially we did very long training sessions. So, we would schedule an hour-long meeting on a learning day for teams to get up to speed. That we found it was very difficult for people to make the time to attend. We did record them. It was very difficult to get people to actually watch the videos. So we decided to pivot to doing what we're calling security bites or micro-learning, which is short, like no more than 5-minute videos that are tailored to specific topics of interest for our champions. And that has proved hugely successful. And we're also working on more rewards and recognition for our champions as well to help incentivize it. I will leave you with some key takeaways, or I will try to leave you with some key takeaways. It says, there we go. So just to reinforce kind of the key message here, adopting a security-first culture, it reduces cyber risk. It's not just about making the culture better at your organization. It actually has a direct impact on your application security posture. Security is everyone's responsibility. Again, that is key. You need to have everyone on board and understand that they play an active role in securing your firm. Empowering your employees to protect the firm. Again, using our security champions, this is how we're amplifying this message and getting more people involved, but it's crucial to being successful. And finally, the best way to be successful with this is to integrate it into your culture. So all of your daily processes and workflows, wherever you can integrate your security, the earlier the better, for a better chance of success. That was my last slide. Thank you very much.